Welcome to my December 2021 update of the best credit cards here in the UK. In a moment, I'll take you through the best cards and offers, things like the longest 0% balance transfer credit card, the best cashback credit card, stuff like that. I'll share with you how you can get extra vouchers and money from Amazon, American Express, and also Barclaycard. So if you're customers with any of them, there could be some vouchers that your credit card could help you get. But let's start off with some of the credit card news for this month. First one, bad news for some of you, hopefully not many of you, but for some of you. And this is that the average rate of interest charged on a credit card is at a 23-year high. According to Bank of England figures reported in The Guardian, it announced it's at 21.49%. That is massive. That's a huge amount to pay on your credit card if you don't do what I say every single month when I do these videos. You don't clear that balance in full every single month. Huge amount. And it really sort of puts into perspective, I think, that if you aren't using a credit card for stuff you can afford, and if you aren't adding money on there, or just you're not managing it properly, you're forgetting to pay it and stuff, that's a lot of money. Not as much as an overdraft, not as much as a payday loan, but it's still a huge amount of money to be charged on your borrowing. And in fact, it's possibly going to get even worse because American Express has announced that from February 2022, their interest rates are going to jump from 22.2% to 24.5%. Now, American Express say this is to fund some of the offers and promotions they do, and we'll talk about those in a moment. But you wouldn't be surprised if maybe other credit card companies go, right, we're going to raise ours as well. And again, the average increases for everyone. So just want to let's kick things off. Let's just reiterate again what I think the big rules are. I mentioned it just 2 seconds ago, but I'll reiterate it now. If you're using a credit card, you really want to avoid getting charged any interest, okay? The best way to do this is to make sure you only buy things that you can afford anyway, and then to set up a direct debit to pay that full amount every single month. So it comes out of your account straight away. You're not going to forget to do it. It's already done. Now you might be worried about, hang on, but how do I make sure I've got enough money in my current account to make sure that I am covering the amount needed for that credit card when that bill comes through? A few things you can do with this. Potentially, if you've got an account like Monzo or Starling, which has a separate pot or space, you can move the money across every time you spend. So let's say you spend 50 quid on your credit card, straight away you move 50 quid into one of those pots or spaces, and that will actually build up over time. And then when that direct debit comes out, it comes out of that pot or space. So I think that's a great thing you can do. Not every bank has that feature, obviously. So potentially you have a separate current account. Got updates on that every single month, taking you through the best ones, all sorts of rewards and features you can get from having more than one current account. Maybe what you do is the same thing there. You just transfer the money from your main current account into a separate current account that is just for your credit card bills. And again, the bill comes out of that. So that will mean you don't miss out on, you make sure you've got enough money and you don't get charged interest. Really important. Now, if you are someone who's going to find that difficult, you are going to struggle to do that, then you maybe need to take this as a moment to go, right, now let's have a look back. What is the situation with my credit cards? Why am I spending on my credit cards and getting charged interest? Can you find other ways to trim back elsewhere to make sure that you have enough money to clear it every single month, or not even use the credit card in the first place? That's really important. If that doesn't look likely, and this is a thing that's been going on for a long time, and it's maybe got other debts going on, then you want to get debt help, debt advice, free debt advice from the likes of Step Change or National Debt Line. They are places which will talk to you for free. They won't charge you anything, and they'll help you find out the ways out of this kind of persistent debts. Now, there is also an option, if you've got a large existing debt, to look at a 0% balance transfer credit card, or even a low APR consolidated credit card transfer, balance transfer. I will take you through the best ones later on, but the reason why they're fantastic is for a short period of time, could be 10 months, 12 months, 20 months, 30 months, whatever the longest one you can get is, you are not paying interest on that debt, which means all that money you're putting into it is going completely to clear that balance and not the interest. Okay, so that's what's going on with interest rates. Bad news, but hopefully. The reason why I never talk about the different interest rates, particularly the cards we'll go through in a moment, is because I don't want you to choose a card based on interest rate, because I don't want you to choose a credit card that you aren't going to be able to afford. But understand that not everyone's going to be in that position, so make sure you are looking for the lowest possible interest rate if you think that's going to be a factor. More important than anything else. Next one to tell you about, again, it's another potential issue that's worth noting. This is around the transfer of Avios points into Nectar points. Now, I've spoken a lot on these videos in the past about this is a great way to boost the value of your points that you earn with your credit cards, whether it's one that earns Avios points or whether it's one that earns American Express reward points. Now, the idea, very simply, if you've got Amex points, you swap them into Avios and then you swap them into Nectar points. It increases their value from 0.5% to 0.8% in terms of what it would be if it was cashbacks. That's a nice little boost. Or obviously with the Avios points, if you've got them anyway, you can transfer them into Nectar points. if you wish, because that might be something easier than getting a flight. You can use it in Sainsbury's or Argos or eBay, places like that. So all well and good. I've got a whole video taking you through why you should do it, how you can do it. However, I've had a few viewers and listeners get in touch with me and say, actually, right now, it's not working. This transfer is not going through. I can't get on the website to do it. And they're worried about what's happening. Why is this happening? Is this the end of this scheme? Does it mean you're going to be stuck with all these Avios points or Amex points and not be able to transfer them at that higher rate into Nectar points? Well, I got in touch with the British Airways press office. They're the ones who, British Airways, the ones who run that conversion scheme, not Nectar, not sort of the Avios people directly, to the British Airways ones. And they looked into it and they came back to me and said, look, it's just a technical issue. You don't need to worry. It will be fixed. They can't say when it will be fixed, but it will come back. So fingers crossed that is true. I specifically asked them and said, look, is this going to be a situation where it won't come back at all? Or if it comes back, the conversion rate will be different? And I was told it will be coming back. It's just a technical issue they're trying to deal with. And in fact, last night I had a look. Someone messaged me on Instagram, asked about this, and I managed to get into the site and it was working fine. Didn't convert any points because I didn't need to, but it was all working fine. Looked again this morning and the site was down again. So don't know what's going on here, but do remember when this first launched earlier this year, you couldn't do it online. You had to phone up and do it. So potentially it's part of that same problem, but keep an eye on this. But I do think this is worth thinking about if you're looking at a new credit card right now. When I go through the best ones in a moment, I'll take you through the options, but it might be worth thinking, rather than getting one with the explicit intention of swapping those points eventually into Avios and then into Nectar, maybe you want to go, actually, I don't want to sort of take the risk just in case it still isn't fixed when it needs to be fixed. Or perhaps they do change it. They said they won't, but maybe they do change it. Maybe you want to look at ones which are purer cashback, or just be aware of the fact that you might not be able to boost the value of your points. They might only be worth X amount rather than X plus whatever that little extra is. So it's worth bearing that in mind. I very quickly want to touch as well on something that won't have affected a lot of you, but it's something around Creation credit cards. Creation run the IHG rewards credit card. That's a hotel rewards scheme. So some of you, if you're really into your points and stuff, you might have one of these cards, and you might also have been using it with something called Curve. Now, I'm not going to get into details of what Curve is right now. I've got a whole separate video you can watch that takes you through it. I'm a big fan of it. Ultimately, what it does is it lets you use an underlying card, and it could be any Visa or MasterCard sitting under it, but put it on a different debit card. And the advantages of that are things like you can add a card to Apple Pay or Google Pay that doesn't normally go on those services, or potentially, and this is how I use it a lot, you can change after up to 30 days after transaction, you can change the payment card. So often if I've got a business purchase, I'll move it from whatever card it's gone on, move it to my business current account, just to keep it all tidy rather than having to claim expenses and stuff. So that's lots of great things going on there. However, back in September, Creation got in touch with customers and said they're not going to be able to use it on Curve anymore. They stopped that. And then subsequently, they started cancelling some of the cards for people who had used it with Curve in the past. It seems not everyone, but some of them. And they say this is down to misuse. Potentially what it seems to have happened is that some of the customers have used their Curve card with the underlying Creation card below it to send money to NSNI savings accounts. And doing that, sending that money in, is a breach in the terms. Potentially that's because you shouldn't be using a credit card to do that. Or also it could be the sense that they're transferring the money in and then transferring it back out. And it looks like they're kind of fraud measures. So it seems to have stemmed from that NSNI saying, what's going on here? We're not happy with what's happening. And then Creation also saying that we're not happy with it either. So they've cancelled a lot of the cards. Now, if you have been impacted by this, I would recommend going to the Curve community website. The Curve website has its own sort of community. Lots of users on there talking about their experience, what's happened, how they've been able to, if they've been able to get their kind of fee pro rata refunded, if they've been able to get their free night, all that kind of stuff that's going on. So make sure you have a look at that. For the rest of us, if we use Curve with underlying credit cards, I think it's just a good sort of moment to think, hang on, let's make sure we're not scamming it too much. Scamming is the wrong word. Hacking it. I love a good hack. I love finding extra ways to get points here, there, and everywhere. But not necessarily if it's going to be something that could cause your card to be cancelled, okay? So you don't want to be sort of going down that route. It has all sorts of consequences that you don't really want to get into. Inconvenience, but potentially reduce your credit limit, all that kind of stuff. So bear that in mind if you are using any of those cards with Curve and you're doing it to do something which you think is a little bit workaround, a little bit cheeky, maybe just sort of stand back. Right, let's talk now about some of these sort of freebies and offers that you might be able to get from different credit cards. So the first one of this relates to Amazon users, not the Amazon credit card, Amazon users, because they've announced that from the 19th of January next year, 2022, you won't be able to make any payments with Visa credit cards. Visa debit cards will be fine, MasterCard will be fine, American Express would be fine, but not Visa credit cards. Now, they say that's because Visa are charging too high fees to Amazon. It's too expensive for them to use it. You think, well, why not MasterCard? Why not Amex? They also have high fees. Well, the cynic could say, well, Amazon does have its own MasterCard credit cards for customers, has its own American Express customers, credit cards for business customers. So it's not going to get rid of those, is it? So maybe this is a negotiating tactic. Maybe they want to get more people onto their own credit cards, or maybe they want to get Visas to lower their fees, or maybe they want to do some sort of great deal with Visa on their own credit card. So they could turn around on this and change their mind. But at the moment, this is the deal. Here's a little hack for you that does work. It worked for me. I've got a friend to test it. It worked for them as well. If you have a Visa credit card as currently your main payment card on Amazon, if you change that to a MasterCard or an Amex, they will give you a £10 voucher to use. Can't use it on everything, but you can use it on lots and lots of things. You can't use it on Amazon products like Kindles and Echoes, and you can't use it on digital things, but you'll be able to use it elsewhere on most products. If you have a Prime membership, that goes up to 20 quid. Now, I haven't been using Amazon in the whole of 2021, right? And I don't have a Visa card on there. But what I thought I'd do is a little experiment and see what happens. I added a Visa credit card. I made it my default payment, and I waited a couple of days. And then I got the promotion saying, hey, if you change your Visa credit card, add a different card on, we'll give you that voucher. So if you've already got a Visa credit card on there and you see the promotion on the homepage, fantastic, go and get your free voucher. If you haven't, and you've got a Visa credit card, doesn't even have to be yours, it could be your partner's or someone's, add it on, and then wait for the offer to come up and then remove it. Now, it could end at any time. It's been going for a good few weeks now already, this promotion. They might change their mind on it, but it's definitely worth taking advantage of that while you can. Speaking of other benefits for credit card customers, if you have a Barclaycard, have a look in your inbox. Check you haven't missed an email about free Apple subscriptions. Basically, if you've not had Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple News, and Apple, what's the other one called? The gaming one that they've got. If you haven't had that before, Apple Arcade, if you haven't had them before, you can get 5 months free via your Barclaycard on all of them. If you have had them before, then how long that sort of extra months reduces slightly. So Apple Music, you get an extra 2 months for free. Apple News, it's 4 months. Apple Arcade's 4 months. Apple TV, it's yet another 5 months. It's still 5 months. So this is a great thing to have a look for if you're a Barclaycard customer. And also this month, halfway through already, we've only got another sort of 10 days or so until December the 13th. It's American Express Shop Small. This is a great promotion. Again, one of those things that probably has resulted in the interest rate increasing on their credit cards next February. But spend at least £15 at a participating small retailer. You can do it up to 5 times in that period. You will get £5 credit back. So you can get up to 25 quid back, but you can increase that. If you've got a supplementary card, then you can do it again. If you've got additional credit cards, you can do it again. So between me and my wife, we've got 4 different American Express cards. And that means we can potentially get £100 back if we spend at 5 times on each of those different cards. But it also means you can use the same shop twice, because normally you can only once per card, but if you've got a second card, you can use it again, which is quite handy. Did a whole video on when this offer came back in the summer, so do check that out if you want more information and more info on the blog as well. Now, before we jump into the best credit cards for December 2021, a quick reminder that I do these updates every single month, not just on credit cards, but also on current accounts and on savings accounts. So make sure if you haven't already, you hit that subscribe button so you do not miss any of those videos and all the other ones I'm doing about helping you with your personal finance. Hit that little notification bell as well so you get told when they're there. And also, I would love it if you like this video, leave me a comment below, particularly if you've been affected by any of the things I've spoken about so far. I love to get your insights and your experiences. It really helps me help others and inform future videos that I make. Right, let's get into it. This is the best credit cards for you in December 2021. First of all, let's talk about cashback credit cards. And before we do that, just a quick reminder that actually the best cashback credit card right now, in my opinion, isn't a credit card. It's a debit card from Chase Bank. You get 1% for the first 12 months, which is as good than all the other credit cards out there. And you can get that money straight away and spend it where you want. So I would definitely go there first of all. But if you absolutely do want a cashback credit card, or if you've not had an American Express credit card before, then have a look at some of the welcome bonuses from Amex. They are fantastic. Now, if you are willing to take a risk on that Amex reward points into Avios points into Nectar points conversion I mentioned before, then the American Express Preferred Rewards Gold credit card can get you up to £184 in Nectar points if you spend $3,000 in 3 months. That is the highest paying one out there. If you'd rather play it a little bit safer, then maybe you want to look at the American Express Platinum Cashback credit card. This will give you 5% back for the first $2,500 you spend in the first 3 months. So you only get 125 quid with that, so it's a lot less than the other one, but that money is actual cash, it's not in points, and you're guaranteed you're going to get that. There are others, again, details on all of these over on becleveryourcash.com with more information. Now, if you're not eligible for a welcome offer, but you just want the American Express credit card that's going to get you the highest return every single time you spend money, the American Express Nectar one is the best. It will give you 2 Nectar points for every pound you spend. That's the equivalent of 1%. So the same as that Chase card that I mentioned before, but obviously that American Express might not be accepted in every single retailer. Now, if you want a non-American Express cashback credit card, there are some options. Again, none of them are as good as that 1% Chase debit card, but there are a few that I would definitely have a look at. If you are a regular John Lewis or Waitrose shopper, their partnership card will give you 1.25% back in those stores only, 0.25% elsewhere. If you're an Amazon Prime customer, their Platinum MasterCard will give you 1.5% back at Amazon shopping only. Again, just if you're a Prime member, it's less if you're not. And there's also a £30 welcome offer with that. I think John Lewis also has a welcome £20 welcome offer right now at the moment, which runs for the moment. And if you're not worried about particular shops, you just want one that you can spend anywhere, then the Barclaycard Rewards is my top pick. 0.25%, so a lot less than the ones we mentioned so far, but you can get that at home and abroad because it's fee-free to spend overseas with. Let's talk about 0% purchase credit cards. I mentioned that at the top when we talk about interest rates. If you need a card to spend on, something that's big, something expensive, a 0% purchase credit card could be the solution. You can use this one and you won't get charged interest for a set amount of time. Now, the longest one right now is 23 months. M&S Bank will guarantee that 23 months. Tesco will offer you up to 23 months. Tesco one might be a better option because you can get cashback on that card from Top Cashback or Quidco. Could be 20 quid, could be 30 quid. Those rates do change regularly, but have a look. But again, it's up to, so you might not get the full 23 months. There are lower ones. And in fact, probably should point this out again, normally point this out before I get into this bit. Really important you do eligibility checks before you apply for any credit card, because the card that's going to be best for you is the one you're most likely to get accepted for. So if that means you don't get the longest deal, you get one that's slightly shorter but a better chance of getting it, that may well be the best bet. Same with all the cards I'm talking about. Do that eligibility check, really important. Talking about best balance transfer credit cards, again, really vital here if you're looking to reduce the cost of your existing debt. The longest ones here are up to 31% at 0%. Now, there will be a balance transfer fee with this. The Santander one is 2.75% to transfer your cash over. If you go via Quidco, you'll get £30 cash back. There is one from Sainsbury's Bank, which has a slightly lower rate, but you don't get that extra bonus. Now, if you want to have a zero fee, so there's no transfer fee on that balance transfer, actually Sainsbury's Bank is a good one to have a look at right now. You get up to 21 months, although you might get a shorter period. If you want to get a guaranteed period of time, maybe look at Santander. That has 18 months, but again, go via cashback sites and you can get a roughly £30 voucher, which kind of might hopefully make up for those extra couple of months that you lose out on. Now, a money transfer credit card is something which is really good if you want to clear a catalogue debt or an overdraft or something like that. This one will give you a bunch of cash, which you transfer from your credit card to your current account. You can spend it as you wish. Could be a cheapish loan, but you might be able to get a personal loan elsewhere, which is better. This one, again, will have a transfer fee. The longest one is up to 18 months with MBNA. That transfer fee of around 2.99% or 3.49%. You might get offered a shorter amount of time. Again, Tesco has one with a shorter period, but again, you can get cash back when you apply for it if you're successful. But remember, once again, with these ones, make sure you do that eligibility checker and then make sure any money you put on any of these cards, you pay the full amount every single month, or if it is a 0% balance transfer credit card or 0% money purchase credit card, or even a 0% purchase credit card, you're at least paying the minimum every single month, but ideally as much as you can every month to ensure that that balance is cleared by the end of that 0% period. Let's end very quickly with the best credit building credit cards. And actually the best credit build credit card is, as I mentioned with all credit cards, is the one you're most likely to get. So if you have a low credit score and you're struggling to find one, go for the one that gives you the highest chance of acceptance via those credit card eligibility checks on comparison sites. However, all things being equal, a couple to look out for which might give you an extra boost. The Amazon Classic credit card will give you a £30 voucher if you successfully apply. And the Barclaycard Forward credit card, you can get a £20 cash back via Quidco or Top Cashback. So that might be worth doing one of those two over the others if all things are equal. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Here are some other videos about credit cards you might find useful. Don't forget to hit subscribe.